let me move forward and pass the baton now to Sofie Lompar from Lund University. And Sofie, we'd be so happy to learn from you. What are your approaches for monitoring progress towards climate neutrality? Floor is yours, Sofie.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me all right?
We hear you very well.
Very well. So thank you so much for inviting me as well to present here today. It's an absolute honor. And I'm very happy now to be able to zoom in a bit more into how we work in viable cities. So Olga just gave you a really good presentation on the Strategic Innovation Program and what we do. And I will now zoom in a bit into our approaches then for monitoring the progress towards climate neutrality. And before I dive into the nitty-gritty details, I want to just zoom out a bit and share with you the mission of Viable Cities, which is climate neutral cities 2030 with a good life for all within planetary boundaries. And here you see the transition map that we use in Viable Cities. This is our roadmap, you could say, for how do we really achieve change. So at the center in this pink arrow, you see a just climate transition. And in the blue fields, you see the processes that need to be in place in order to achieve that. And when I read this, I see this as, you could say, three main steps. So first, you would need to build a strong mandate and you would need to understand the system. Now we are at the beginning of the blue fields. Then we can move into co-designing a portfolio and we can take action. This is where we move into implementation. And then we need to look back. We need to learn and reflect, and we need to make this practice the new normal. And then we do it all over again. And at the outer ring, the purple ring, you see the Climate City contract. And this is the yearly iterated contract that the mayors of our 48 cities sign each year, and they're also signed by the GDs of 6 governmental state agencies in Sweden, and obviously also signed by Olga Kodas as the program director of Viable Cities. And this Climate City contract provides us with a really strong tool for understanding how cities are working right now, but also for us to create a directionality and a joint way forward. So you will be hearing more about the Climate City contract process and how we use that as a backbone for our assessment of progress. So when we talk about monitoring progress in a mission that is climate neutrality by 2030 with a good life for all within planetary boundaries, we need to think about measuring progress in different tracks. So the first track might be the most obvious one. This is the progress towards climate neutrality and actually gauging the effects that are seen in cities' greenhouse gas emissions. So for Viable Cities here, we are supporting cities with, for example, indicators and approaches for assessment of effects. For example, now there are a lot of work on scope 3 assessments and comparisons of measures. And also, we're right now working on providing some kind of set of generic calculations where that is needed. And for this, I want to highlight one specific example in which we are collaborating with the Swedish Internet Foundation, who are leading this project. Viable Cities then is a needs owner and we're a collaborator, but a range of other experts and stakeholders are involved in this work. And the purpose with this work is to provide a short list of indicators that can be used for assessing a local transformation. And the idea is that this set of indicators is supposed to be useful for all cities, and it's also supposed to connect the cities with relevant data sources. So I understand that you cannot really read all the details in this picture, and it's just to give you an idea of how this work is set up currently. So this is just the table for the sector of transport, for example. So here we would collect indicators that relate to transport and that relate to carbon dioxide emissions in equivalents. And we look at system leading indicators. That would be indicators that could be used to understand a transformation of the system. And we also then look at, are there any data sources that address this indicator, and what is the status of this data source? Is it a measured data source? Is it calculated? Is it estimated, or does it not exist? So again, just a short example of a really important project right now that we are collaborating on in order to provide cities with a set of indicators that is also connected to a set of data sources that could be applied. The other track that we need to keep in mind when we talk about progress towards climate neutrality with a good life for all within planetary boundaries would be the governance innovation for climate neutrality. So which effects are seen in the cities and the governmental agencies' governance structures and capabilities for orchestrating transformation? So here, for example, we would look at innovation in creating mandates and structures and processes that can lead to change on the local level, or that can lead to more alignment between the different governance levels. We can look at scaling, which are the building blocks that have been established within cities that have been shown to be successful and that can be adopted by other cities. And we also look at sustainability over time and under uncertainties, because these are changes that would need to be self-sustaining and not just within a certain amount of time. So let me now focus then on the second track. So this is where we use the climate city contract process as a backbone for gauging this progress, because this might not be as easily or readily measured as the actual greenhouse gas emissions. I'm not saying that these are easy to measure either, though. Here we have the Climate City Contract 2030. Olga just showed you this picture, and I bring it back because it is important to understand the different levels of the Climate City Contract. We have the city's commitments. Each city assigned their own commitments with goals, governance strategies, action plans, climate investment plan. Viable cities, we have our own commitments on how we are going to support this work. And then we have the state agencies that also have their own commitments. This year, it's policy development for local transition, it's coordinated initiatives for financing, and it's supporting participation in European initiatives. But importantly here, we launched this year something that we call the joint commitments between cities. And these are a set of commitments that cities can sign up to join, and they are for the cities. But you see these arrows also linked to Viable Cities as a program and to the state agencies, because these 10 commitments provide us with a really strong structure for organizing our work and for gearing efforts and aligning efforts where it's really needed. The 10 commitments are seen here. I will not spend too much time on them, but to the left, you see 3 green boxes. These are the mandatory commitments, which means that all parties sign to work on these. It's number 1 is a strengthened governance for climate transition. The next is about climate analysis and climate calculation. And the third is financing and investing in the climate transition. So these are mandatory. And these are key parts of the Climate City Contract processes. Then we have 7 optional commitments which cities could sign up to. They refer to social sustainability and a just climate transition, a digital transformation, procurement and purchasing, complementary and compensatory measures. It's the coordinated climate mitigation and climate adaptation. It's citizen engagement, and finally communication. And we also offered cities an opportunity to write about certain other optional thematic areas that they wanted to collaborate on. And here you would find the big sectorial areas that you might miss in this list. That would be energy, transport, for example. So what do these 10 give us? I'm gonna switch. Well, they are designed in 3 different levels. And here you can recall the transition map, which I showed you in the beginning. So what we did is that we arranged these 10 commitments into 3 levels each. It's the initiate level, where we create the foundation by building mandates and understanding the system. We have the established level, where we introduce structures and ways of working. And then we have the transform level, where we scale up, accelerate, where we learn, and where we continue to explore and move forward. So already in this design, this gives us an understanding of where are cities currently, which are the steps that are needed to move forward as we now move towards climate neutrality 2030 within or using these 10 commitments as essential components. We set up goals for the aggregate work on these 10 commitments, because if we want to know where we're going, we need to articulate where we're going. So these are the goals for 2026. All cities have reached the initiate level for commitments 1, 2, 3, and that would be the mandatory ones. So all 48 cities are working on this. Second goal is that all cities are able to describe an advancement within the joint commitments in which they are partaking. So this would be advancing within the optional joint commitments. An effective and experience-based knowledge bank with portfolios has been built and shared within and across these 10 commitments. So this is really essential for how we make sure that these commitments are not operating in silos, because they're really strengthening each other and there are some really clear links between them. And lastly, the last goal, cities that are at the forefront of commitments have begun work on the transform level. So these 4 are the aggregate goals, but then of course, we have detailed goals for each commitment. And here I want to say that this is the first year that we're working with this format of joint commitments within the Climate City contract. So we have just started up the process in the first quarter of the year, Q1, and we have established the starting point now for each of these commitments. And then the work proceeds into where do we want to be in December? We set up a goal for Q4. We think about how do we get there? What will be the necessary deliverables along the way within each commitment to reach the set goals for that commitment, but also to respond to the overarching aggregated goal for this entire work. And how do we document and progress and learn together? And this is where we would need some kind of set of indicators, and we would need evaluation or assessment. And this way of working and this design allows us to have some kind of diagnostic assessment by quarter or by every 6 months or what is needed. It gives us also ideally a yearly assessment of these 10 commitments and of the goals. And it provides us with a pathway for the next iteration of the Climate City contracts and the continued work within these 10 commitments. So just to show you what this looks like in reality, this is the outline for joint commitment number 1, which was on governance. You see we have identified 4 main work areas for 26. It's achieving a political anchoring where climate is an integrated part of the municipality's financial and strategic management. And the goal for that is that all 48 cities should take step towards anchoring the issue on a broad political understanding and agreement on this issue. And just moving ahead, cities are also supposed to have decided on and have started work on a local geographical transition arena. And all 48 cities have a clear picture and process for managing the follow-up and development of their Climate City Contract 2030. So this is a process goal, you could say. And finally, common denominators and tools for strengthened synergies in the collaboration between the municipality and local business are identified. So these were the identified important goals that this 48 cities together want to work on for this year. And I really want to highlight that all the work that goes on within these joint commitments is really collaborative. All 48 cities are partaking. We have created structures where everyone can be involved. So these goals or these work areas are not something that we have developed from Viable Cities, but they're co-created together with the cities to make sure that it aligns with cities' needs and where they are right now. This is obviously both the joint work and the local work. We have provided cities with a tool just to show you where they can map out their own progress across the year for Q1 through Q4 and also in the long term up to 2030. But we have also the bottom line here is the joint work. What can we share? So here cities could highlight, we are working on this right now. We will be interested in sharing this, and then they can adopt from each other. But they can also here highlight what do we need help with. And this helps us as a program to keep track of where are we and where do we need to place our efforts to really support this work. So our analysis at a really quick glance. We have these 2 tracks. We have several data sources to draw from when we try to understand how is this work conducted. We have the yearly Climate City contracts, we have city surveys, statistics, etc. And what we do is mainly qualitative content analysis. Just to give you a really brief glance of what this looks like for 2026, we code in a qualitative coding program where we have 350 unique code that we distribute across 13 thematic nodes. And that led to a total of about 5,200 codes applied to all the Climate City contracts and letter of intents for 2026. So this gives us an opportunity to analyze needs, trends, intersections, and mapping of interests, and also highlight potential areas of collaboration between cities. And obviously this work helps us inform the work within the joint commitments. It helps us develop the next iteration of the Climate City contracts. And it also helps us inform the work with the governmental agencies and support the stronger alignments of these initiatives. And my final slide and my final summary then just is that the Climate City contracts, as we see it right now, is a key backbone for our work with monitoring of progress. It allows structured and aggregated approach of monitoring across several essential areas for local transition towards climate neutrality, and it supports acceleration and scaling. And it does so by us being able to talk about and discuss with cities, are we doing the right things and are we doing things right? And again, I just want to add saying that not all effects are readily measured as carbon dioxide equivalents, especially not when we talk about a good life for all within planetary boundaries. Thank you so much for listening.